This is Mark. We might have some problems in the United States because we had a total solar eclipse last year that passed over where I live. Partial solar eclipse was full solar eclipse in other places. We have a solar eclipse this year in about 2 weeks, April 8th, 2024 in the United States. We have a President Biden, who is having trouble remembering things and walking, and we might see him be removed from office. We had a solar eclipse in 2023, and this is the important part. This might be the overthrow of the government, which cannot happen without the will of the government. The government wants to be overthrown to establish socialism, and then to move on from that to go to communism. There was a communist leader, it escapes me right now who it was, could have been Stalin, who said the goal of socialism is communism. So we might be a communist country pretty soon, or a socialist country, then move to a communist country. But there might be some chaos pretty soon. The solar eclipse last year, 2023, I think it was October 2023, was when Pluto had its return. So this is a little bit of a problem because solar eclipses last for several years. This could last into Donald Trump's presidency. If he becomes president again, Donald Trump could be removed from office as well as President Biden. Pluto was at its return, first return it's had since 1776. Pluto was at its return during a solar eclipse. This probably means that our country will fall apart eventually, probably not that year, or even a year after the solar eclipse, or this year, but even a year after the solar eclipse, or in 2023, it won't result in the collapse of the government in 2024 necessarily, but we have another one in 2024. This will affect the future. We haven't had solar eclipses like this for a long, long time. I don't know when last time I had a solar eclipse. Could have been around the Civil War. I see a war coming. Doesn't mean we'll all be in the war, but the government will probably collapse or undo itself. I don't think the government is so weak that it can't even govern. They'll switch to a new form of government, which will be socialism or communism. And probably, if it becomes socialist, it'll probably become communist first. That's the direction we're moving. It won't be for more freedom. It will be for more regulation, just like we're getting a lot of regulations now. You know, you can't say this, you can't do this, you can't do that. More and more regulation. You know, things like curfews for people aren't allowed to be out after 12 or 11 o'clock at night. They're not allowed to be outside. Things like that. Yeah, in this 2024, it might affect what they call President Trump. It will probably affect President Biden. He will probably not be reelected. He might not even finish his term, and then Trump might not even finish his term. Mr. Trump might not even finish his term. That's what I'm seeing because of the placement of Pluto at the solar eclipse last year, and we're having another solar eclipse this year. We'll see destabilization in the United States, which is ironic because we have always overthrown other governments and been able to exert power over the world. And the government has the power to exert power over this country, over their own country, but I don't think it's willing to do that. We'll see a revolution. I've heard people talk about it. We'll see a revolution because of these eclipses, especially the eclipse last year, and we have one this year. I'm eager to see the eclipse. It will be almost total over here. It will be almost total where I live. Okay.